objects of Art Deco art that was ever created, and the scale is just immense. The towers over 700 feet in height, the main span 4,200 feet long. No one had ever built a bridge like this before. Some people say you can never build it again.
Look at the tower at the San Francisco end of the bridge.
Okay, folks, the swells are bigging up a little bit, so until we make our turn, hold on to something, take a seat, use caution.
Building a concrete pier in water more than 100 feet deep, enormous temporary walls were built, enclosing an area in the bay the size of a football field. Water was pumped out, then the concrete was poured. Next came the two towers. When they were completed, thousands of steel strands were bundled together to form the enormous main cables that connect them. Finally, the road itself was built, starting at both ends and working toward the middle to keep the bridge in balance. It's easy to describe. It was far from easy to accomplish. Imagine working there, day after day, in the cold, in the fog, in the rain. On major construction projects in those days, experience had shown that one workman usually died for every $1 million spent. The budget for the bridge was $35 million, but Joseph Strauss was determined that 35 lives would not be lost on his bridge. A safety net was fabricated and suspended below the workmen, and although 11 men did die during construction, 19 men fell into the safety net and were saved. Those 19 lucky men formed a very special club. It's called the Halfway to Hell Club. Of the 11 men who lost their lives during construction, 10 of them died in one accident when a 10-ton scaffold fell and tore through the net. The Golden Gate Bridge was completed in less than 5 years, May 1937. Joseph Strauss let the world know exactly how he felt.
The Golden Gate Bridge. The bridge which could not and should not be built, which the War Department would not permit, which the rocky foundation of the pier base would not support, which would have no traffic to justify it, which would ruin the beauty of the Golden Gate, stands before you in all its majestic splendor, in complete refutation of every attack made upon it.
Look up at the Twin Towers. They rise nearly 750 feet above the water. Let your eyes follow the bridge from shore to shore. The roadway extends for 1.25 miles without touching down on solid ground. Look at the two main cables. There's enough wire there to wrap around the planet 3 times. Each strand in the cables is secured to steel reinforcements in a 50,000-ton foundation buried deep underground. Impressive numbers, but numbers alone can't tell the story of the Golden Gate Bridge. There's more to it than steel and concrete. For many, it has become a symbol of America's hope, as inspiring and recognizable as the Statue of Liberty.
When you're standing on that deck, you can feel it vibrate. You can feel it sway back and forth in the wind. The entire bridge hums like a harpsichord, like ooh, and it makes you feel very small. And standing, looking up at those huge towers and listening to the whole thing moaning in the wind, it's all inspiring.
That name, by the way, came long before the bridge. John C. Fremont, a soldier, explorer, and adventurer, named the entrance to San Francisco Bay the Golden Gate back in 1846. That was even before gold was discovered in California. Look to the north end of the Golden Gate Bridge, the side opposite San Francisco, and you'll see a rocky point with a building on it. Just above the bridge. That's Line Point, the other side of the Golden Gate's entrance, along with Fort Point. Look again at the hills to the left of Line Point, the Marin Headlands. Spend an afternoon on the hiking trails there, and you might see deer or even bobcats. Climb to the top of Hawk Hill any time of the year, and you'll have a glorious view of the Golden Gate. Visit in October, and you'll see magnificent birds of prey. Every fall, more than 100,000 hawks, eagles, and falcons soar overhead on their migration south. Now, Let's all take a moment to enjoy this magnificent panorama. The sun is out. In addition to its other qualities, the bay is a challenging playground for sailors and windsurfers alike.
Trắng bờ
The
thôi,
area
chứ ngồi
between
sâu
Christie Field and the Golden Gate Bridge in Fort Point has become one of the top windsurfing locations in the world. That's caused by the winds that just howling through the Golden Gate, the mix of waters trying to force their way into the harbor, and also out some of the things. The more churned up, the better, but it's not very interesting.
Tại cái cầu hơn tại con vịnh chứ vịnh có.
Alright, folks, I'm gonna start making our way back toward Alcatraz. Should be there in about 15, 20 minutes. Another perfect opportunity. Head on down, see Adrian at the main deck snack bar. Those beers and cocktails aren't gonna drink themselves, folks. Lots of specials.
Tại từ từ chứ mình có. Cái rằng tại cái cầu chứ mình có làm tại con vịnh, con cái mấy đảo. Giờ đợi gió rồi đó.
Now we are out on the bay where the water can become choppy and treacherous. In the 1850s, a number of lighthouses were built along the California coast to help guide boats into the bay. 3 of the lighthouses are still here in the bay. But even with lighthouses, buoys, and foghorns, navigating the narrow harbor entrance is no easy feat. Thick fog, shifting currents, and overly bold captains resulted in shipwrecks. In 1901, the wreck of the steamer City of Rio de Janeiro was the worst local maritime disaster ever recorded. The steamer usually transported Chinese immigrants across the Pacific. But in February 1901, there was an American diplomat aboard. He was returning to attend President William McKinley's inaugural ball in Washington, D.C. The ship was already 2 days late when it arrived to the bay. So Captain William Ward decided to proceed through the Golden Gate in heavy fog. In the early morning hours, the Rio de Janeiro struck the rocks. The ship did not have watertight bulkheads, and it sank in a mere 10 minutes. Many of the 210 passengers and crew were below decks and couldn't escape. 128 lives were lost. The sea can be dangerous, but you might be grateful that we are out on the water right now, because one thing San Francisco is famous for is surviving earthquakes.